Welcome to today's episode. Today I'm being joined by Ricardo Mendes, a principal PM in the Azure Stack Hub engineering team. Ricardo, welcome to today's show. Super honored to have you here. Now that people know that you are a principal PM in the Azure Stack Hub team, what are you doing outside of work?
Hey, first of all, thank you, David, for having me here. It's a pleasure. So what I do outside work, I have a pretty busy schedule. So first, foremost, always, playing with the kids, the wife, family, right? Besides that, I am an avid mountain biker and an aspiring dirt bike rider. So, cycling is something that I had done pretty much my entire life, and mountain biking specifically is what lights up my eyes. So you can see me riding on the Northwest, and the place where we live. It's a great place with many beautiful trails. So yeah, mountain biking is what you see me doing with my spare time. And as I mentioned, a couple of years ago, I started riding dirt bikes, and getting my skills on that is also something that I spend some time on. Anything outdoors. The reality is that I love the outdoors. That's how I recharge.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I actually had the chance, thanks to you, to discover some really nice routes here with the mountain bike. But if we switch back to
Yeah,
Microsoft, yeah,
that was a great experience riding a couple of weeks ago. We definitely have to do it again.
definitely.
Let's let's move forward.
Yeah. So when we think about Microsoft, what would you say is kind of like motivates you to work for Microsoft? I know you work quite a few years, so maybe you can talk about this, but also what motivates you to continue working for Microsoft.
David, that's a great question. The motivation around working for Microsoft, the excitement there. So I've been with the company for 23 years now, and I think the number one thing about working for Microsoft is that you have the opportunity to experience uh, many different aspects of our business, right? And Microsoft gives us the tools and the flexibility that is needed for you to explore. And when I look back in this 23 years tenure, and some people look and say, "Wow, it's 23 years, a long time." And that's true; it's a long time, but it actually feels that I had worked in many different jobs, right? And that's again one of the greatest things about Microsoft is this opportunity of experiencing pretty much anything related to technology. I started as a account specialist, so basically a technical specialist working with our enterprise customers. Um, from then on, I worked for a couple of years on Microsoft Consulting Services, so kind of developed the professional services mentality, and I drove projects with many of the Fortune 5 companies. At that time, back in Brazil, I spent 10 years in the Brazilian subsidiary. Then after that, I switched to what was called DPE, the Developer and Platform Evangelism. I would say, toward the grandfathers of CSAs, the cloud advocates, right? I did that for a few years, and one of the folks that I used to work here in the US, we work together in many projects. He's like, "Hey, come and spend a couple of years here, and then you can go back to Brazil." Oh well, a couple of years became 5, which became 10, and here I am, right? And now the Pacific Northwest is where I call home. And at core, I worked mainly as a program manager in different organizations. Uh, so I started here in Corp uh, on the product team that does the host integration server, or HIS. And host integration server is a mainframe connectivity suite. So I did that for a few years. Moved to SQL Server. From SQL Server, I went to Windows, and I did one of the coolest things I ever done, which was working with our hardware partners on the enablement of Windows Server, SQL Server in large systems. And large systems, systems, you know, uh, more than 400 cores and tens of terabytes of memories, um, and pretty much scale up type of systems. So did that for a couple of years. Had a great ride with some of our key OEMs, working on cutting edge hardware. And then I had the opportunity to move to Azure to actually incubate this technology that basically evolved into Azure Stack. I, I've been with the Azure Stack team since the inception of that team, since the name Azure Stack was not something that we had coined yet. So, and it was great because we had this vision of bringing the cloud to on premises, which no one was doing at the time. And I recall coming and talking conferences, giving the examples of the use cases of Azure Stack, that you are running Azure Stack on disconnected environments for data sovereignty, for application modernization, and all those use cases. People would say, "Oh, that, are you going to run the cloud in a ship or in an airplane?" And we're like, "Yeah, that's the idea, right?" And anyway, fast forward now, this idea of running, your applications as you develop the cloud anywhere is something that really resonates very well with our customers. So I'm pretty proud. This past 5 years with Azure Stack been amazing, because I joke that we started a PowerPoint that became a product that actually shaped this industry. So that was pretty cool. And again, looking back, all these experiences, pretty diverse experiences, working with customers from all over the world, and that's unique to Microsoft, right? Because Microsoft has many products, so many different industries, that basically and allows you to work on these different technologies. So to me, every day that I get into the office, it's a new learning day. That's the most exciting thing. The other thing is the people that we work with, right? Uh, Microsoft has talent from all over the world. I come from Brazil, and when I look at my peers, right, I have unique experiences. I mean, David, working with you is amazing. When I hear your story, all the different things you had done so far, and that's awesome, right? It's hard to find this anywhere else. So I think that again, the very broad set of technologies that we work, and people coming from all over the place. Those are the two amazing things about working.
Thank you. I mean, like you said, you were from the incubation with Azure Stack, now Azure Stack Hub, which is pretty awesome too. You're right. You and your team, you created this category that back then literally nobody was pursuing, and so you kind of like created this genre, or this real hybrid, we call it now. We talk about hybrid model, kind of like going in. Now, to not go too far back into the past, specifically when you think about the last 12 months, the last year, which is kind of almost difficult, it's almost two ignites within these past 12 months. What would you say was one of the funniest moments in these past 12 months that if you remember this is like, oh my goodness, this was hilarious and it still kind of like makes you smile when you think about it?
Looking back 12 months, what has happened? Many, many things. 12 months sometimes, feels like a long time. Um, I gotta tell you, what brights my eyes usually. I like the interactions, direct interactions with customers, and I like events, right? And, and I think that because events are these, magical times where we grab all this set of cool technology and we package in a way that people can experience, right? And I think in this past 12 months, around events, it's kind of a side passion that I had. Um, Interesting, actually, just kind of back to the first question, how I started Microsoft. I skip one very important thing. Actually, the first thing I work on at Microsoft was speaking in a conference. At that point, I was not an employee yet, but I was invited to speak on a conference, and that was what sparked the relationship. But anyway, so going back to this past 12 months, events, conferences, and I remember for Ignite 2019, we had this idea to create something really compelling to show all the art of possible for retail, right? So then, and this is one of our great partners, Intel. So we sit in a room, Microsoft and Intel, and start thinking, all right, how can we showcase retail technology in a show, right? And then maybe like 10 or 15 minutes into the conversation, say, you know what, let's just build a mock-up retail store and have actually products that people can buy home and work like a retail venue. So in, I think, 6 or 7 weeks, we built that experience that was key central into the show floor, and we had lines and lines of people coming to experience some of very cool ideas like using artificial intelligence to track product inventory, using AI to identify uh, uh, a store usage, how many people are on the physical space and what they are interacting with, and a lot of also augmented reality to provide an experience where you could use AR to basically experience products that would not be available physically. Anyway, so that was like 12 months ago, almost 12 months ago. Resonated very well, and then just after the show, we are like, hey, there's this other opportunity which is Ignited, right? And Ignited Tour is going to work on, it's going to happen in many cities over the world. So let's actually package that entire retail store, put in a container, ship around, right? And one of those ideas that it's super simple when you envision, but then when you get into the point of doing that, it becomes at the same time challenging but very fulfilling. So what we did basically after Ignite Lando, we travel around the world with that setup, and it was amazing to see the number of people that we touched over those events. We did something like I think 7 or 8 thousand people uh, in the first four Ignite events. But then something happened, right? COVID comes. Actually, uh, I was in London with people for Ignite the Tour London, which was great venue, great place. Who doesn't love London anyway, right? Uh, and anyway, we had a great show, and now we are starting seeing the repercussions of COVID, and this is, end of January, so some travel bans started to form, and we are unsure what's going to happen with the other events. So it turns out that we end up canceling the remaining of the tour after Australia, I believe. Uh, but then we had that concept, right? We realized that our customers loved experience and everything, and then we're like, all right, how we move this forward? And then we came with the ideas around running webinars, our series of webinars that we call Working from Home series, and we use that as a way to keep the momentum going. And it was pretty satisfying to see that we had a very good audience online following that model. And now that experience to Ignite a few weeks ago, right? What we did, we created this a virtual experience around industries. So we went and beyond retail, we had manufacturing and healthcare, but we had the same concepts. We had end-to-end applications that our customers can download online, then a series of videos to educate on technology, and again, we're able to continue the same type of message in a new format. Why this brights my eyes when I talk about it is because it's a great example of a lot of the unexpected happen, and you find ways to get creative and work around it. So I think that the events in the past 12 months had been very very interesting. And in that subject, we should share the link for the what we call the Intelligent Solution series, which is all the source code and artifacts that we use in events is available. So we should post a link in this
Definitely.
video.
Yeah, we should post the link also of the recording of the retail webinar that you did with Intel for this year. And I think for the experience that you talked about in 2019, when it was still in person possible, where you had the big retail floor experience, I think Intel and Microsoft won an award for that experience that you just talked about it. So I'll look it up and also link it. This was it, part one from the interview with Ricardo Mendes. I couldn't believe it as I was going through post-production of how much information and detail he shares with me and all of you. And I definitely want to make sure that you don't miss out. So mark your calendar. In a week from now, I'm going to release part two, where we continue this conversation, looking forwards, but also where he's going to share some tips with you in case you're interested to land a job as a PM at Microsoft, or for that matter, anywhere at Microsoft. Mark your calendars. Make sure you're not going to miss it. Have a good one.